Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. So yeah, in this video I'm going to be talking about my top 15 favourite movies from the year 1991. Not a outstanding year for movies, I think. I think when I get to the end of the list, the top tier ones that I've picked, definitely those are great, but other than that, for me, it's just kind of like a bit of a mediocre year, I think. But there are some great ones in there. As always as well, I'm going to leave a full list of my honourable mentions down below because there are so many movies from 1991. This again is just my list, my personal favourite top 15 favourite movies. Your list is going to be different, and of course so it should be. And again, these are all movies that I've kept in accordance with the release dates from IMDb. They all have 1991 against their name. So yeah, that being said, gonna kick it off with number 15. So coming in at number 15 for me is a comedy I grew up with. I used to have this on VHS, on the same VHS with the sequel as well, and now I've upgraded it to Blu-ray. And it is Steve Martin in the first Father of the Bride movie. Yeah, just having an absolute fun time at this one. Also starring Diane Keaton and Martin Short. The movie pretty much follows Steve Martin, George Banks, who's finds out his daughter is getting married to a guy she hasn't known for very long, and he has to sort of deal with it, even though he's not very happy about it. He meets his future son-in-law, he meets his future in-laws, and kind of it's about him just like adjusting. And yeah, it's just a fun, entertaining movie. Martin Short steals the show. For me, he's absolutely hilarious in this one and the sequel. But yeah, it's just a fun time. It's just sort of that classic scenario about a father who has to just sort of accept that his daughter's moving on to live her own life. And yeah, they're just two fun movies, but the first one is really good. So yeah, that's my number 15 pick, Father of the Bride. So coming in at number 14 for me is another comedy, and it is What About Bob, starring Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss. Yeah, this is just another fun movie about Richard Dreyfuss, who plays this kind of psychiatrist doctor, and Bill Murray has kind of been assigned to him as his patient. And Richard Dreyfuss, all he wants to do is just go on vacation with his family and just have, a relaxing time. But Bill Murray just will not take the hint and will not leave him alone. And he just gets on his nerves throughout the entire film. But everyone else, including Richard Dreyfuss's family, seem to really like Bill Murray's character. And yeah, just Richard Dreyfuss cannot get on board with him, cannot get rid of him, can't shake him. And yeah, that's the movie in a nutshell. It's hilarious. Richard Dreyfuss is brilliant in this film. He's really kind of like the movie's villain, but yeah, you kind of get where he's coming from all at the same time, but it just works, and it just is just such a great comedy, and I just really enjoy this one. Really underseen. Not a lot of people talk about this one, and yeah, I just have a great time with it. So yeah, that is my number 14 pick, What About Bob. So coming up next for me at number 13 is a movie by Jim Jarmusch, and that is Night on Earth. Really great anthology movie, this one, about 5 different taxi fares across the globe, all taking place, like I said, Los Angeles, New York, Paris, Rome. And yeah, it's just a really, really fun, interesting movie about these fairs that all sort of take place at the same time, but throughout, different places on planet Earth. And yeah, it's got some great transitions in it, some great characters. Yeah, you just really sort of get invested in the stories, and you kind of wish they lasted a little bit longer because you just get so engaged with them. And yeah, it's just a great film. Really, really enjoy it. And yeah, similar to What About Bob, a little bit underseen this one, but I really have a great time with it. So yeah, that is my number 13 pick, Night on Earth. So coming up next for me at number 12, we have The Addams Family. Yeah, I grew up watching these movies, particularly the second one. I have so much fun with that one. I think it's the better of the two, in my opinion. But the first one, I didn't grow up with it that much because it really kind of creeped me out. Christopher Lloyd as Fester, as Gordon in the movie, just really unsettled me and gave me nightmares. Don't know why, just really horrific. But the movie is a fun time. Raul Julia and Angelica Houston have great chemistry as Gomez and Morticia. Christina Ricci steals the show as Wednesday. And yeah, it's just a fun movie. The only thing I don't really like about it is the movie itself feels like a sequel to another movie we didn't get. It very much feels very sort of by the numbers sequel-esque type of movie, but I still enjoy it. I still think it's well cast. It looks great. The music's fantastic in it, and it's a fun movie. It's just I enjoy the second one a hell of a lot more. So yeah, that is my number 12 pick, The Addams Family. So coming in at number 11 for me is Kevin Costner in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Yeah, this is another movie that was always on TV when I was younger, and that was the only way I could really ever watch it. I never really had this movie on a physical version growing up. But I really enjoyed it. It's my favourite live action version of the tale. My favourite version probably of all time being the Disney one from '73, but this one's really good. It's not perfect. I know a lot of people have issues with Costner himself. He just can't really nail the English accent. But yeah, it's a fun movie, but the star of the show for me is definitely Alan Rickman as the Sheriff of Nottingham. He steals every scene he's in. You can tell he's having an absolute ball as the villain in this movie. But yeah, I just think it's great. It's got a great soundtrack. I know a lot of people find that song by Bryan Adams grating. I really enjoy it. But yeah, it's just a great movie with a great cast. Christian Slater, Morgan Freeman. Yeah, it's just a fun time for me, this film, and I just really enjoy it. So yeah, just missing out on the top 10. Coming in at number 11, we have Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. So coming in at number 10 for me is just one of the best movies about female empowerment, in my opinion, and it is Ridley Scott's Thelma and Louise. Yeah, just a great fun movie starring Gina Davis and Susan Sarandon. The two of them absolutely have amazing chemistry in this film. Sort of about these two women who are fed up with their relationships and their day-to-day lives. So they just decide to go out and have some fun. But the night that they decide to go out, they just, the night just can't go any worse for them. They end up killing someone because of he just keeps harassing them. Just to this point, this horrible point, and they end up obviously going on the lam and on the run from the police. And it's just such a well-made movie. It's just so well acted. You got a young performance in here from Brad Pitt as well. And yeah, it's just one of Ridley Scott's best. It's one that I always forget it was made by Ridley Scott. Just because I always associate him with Gladiator, Blade Runner, and Alien. But yeah, this is another great one added to his catalogue, and it's just got some great performances in it as well. So yeah, it's just a fantastic film. So yeah, coming in at number 10 for me, that is Thelma and Louise. So coming in at number 9 for me, we have a remake by Martin Scorsese, and that is Cape Fear, starring Robert De Niro and Nick Nolte. Yeah, just another great remake, a great film by Scorsese about this attorney who is kind of being hunted by someone that he defended in the past, and it didn't work out. He went to jail, and he's kind of seeking revenge on him and his family, and he's not doing it over the toply and blatantly. He's doing this in broad daylight and is absolutely tormenting the guy, and it is horrific. Robert De Niro is just terrifying in this movie. The way he's just playing with this guy's life, it is absolutely just horrifying to watch at times. De Niro absolutely kills it. He's just despicable. He's horrible. Everything that the character should be, De Niro absolutely nails for me in this film. And it's just brilliant. It's so tense. It's just a great overall film. De Niro's performance on it alone is just amazing. So yeah, just a fantastic movie, this one. So coming at number 9, we have Cape Fear. So coming in at number 8, we have my personal favourite Star Trek movie, and that is Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. Yeah, this one was a bit of a surprise for me. I'd heard going into these movies when I was binge watching them that number 2 was the best. No one seemed to give any praise to number 6, and it was a treat for me. It was an absolute ball. Really, really enjoyed it. Loved the story of how the Enterprise is meeting with these Klingons and something goes horribly wrong, and certain crew members of the Enterprise end up getting framed for murder. And it's just a brilliant, brilliant movie. The execution in it is great. Christopher Plummer and David Warner in this film as these two Klingons were just great. They stole the show for me. Kurtwood Smith as well. Just a really, really fun mystery movie. Great sci-fi elements to it as well. Really enjoyed the gravity sequences in this movie, and it just looked great. I just had an all-round fun time with this film. So yeah, it's my personal favorite Star Trek movie, at least out of the original run of films. And yeah, it's a nice ending, nice wrap up to that original cast as well. So yeah, that is my next pick, Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. So coming in at number 7 for me is Disney's Beauty and the Beast, first animated movie to ever be nominated for Best Picture. This is a home run for Disney. I think it is as close to a perfect Disney movie as I think you could ever get. The villain in it is great. It completely turns on what you'd expect from Disney on its head. The leads in it are great. Belle and the Beast himself are absolutely fantastic. The supporting cast is phenomenal. Cogsworth, Lumiere, Mrs. Potts. It's just an all-round, perfectly paced, perfectly told, perfectly animated Disney fairy tale. And everything it just does it so well. The movie is kind of flawless, and it's kind of the only downside to the movie is it's too perfect. It's too well done. There's just no dents or cracks in this movie at all. It's not one of my favorite Disney movies. It's definitely one of the best, but it just is too perfect. It's too clean cut, too ironed out. And yeah, I do still enjoy it. It's still really, really well done in my opinion, but it's not one of my favorites. But it still is a really, really good fairy tale, and the music in the movie itself is great as well. So yeah, that is my next pick, Beauty and the Beast. So coming up next for me at number 6, we have a movie that the Coen brothers had a hand in, and yeah, it is Barton Fink, starring John Turturro and John Goodman. Talk about a surprise movie that caught me off guard. I went into this movie completely blind, knowing nothing about it, and I had such a wonderful time with it. It pretty much follows John Turturro, who's this script writer in Hollywood at the time, and he's suffering from writer's block, so he decides, I'm going to check into a hotel and try and just put myself in front of a typewriter and see what happens. And he ends up staying next door to John Goodman's character, and the two of them just kind of sort of get off at the wrong foot at first, but end up becoming friends. And then something happens in the movie which completely flips it on its head, which I wasn't expecting. And it kind of leads you down one path only to surprise you with what you find at the end. And my word, it just blew me away. I absolutely loved the film. Thought John Goodman in it was great. Such an unsung performance in this movie. Yeah, so well shot, so suspenseful. Just absolutely enjoyed the hell out of this one. And bit of an ambiguous ending to this one as well, but my God, it's worth a watch. So yeah, that is my number 6 pick, Barton Fink. So coming in at number 5 for me, we have Point Break, starring Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze. What a fun action movie this is, my word. You've got Keanu Reeves as this FBI agent who's investigating a series of bank robberies committed by a group of people who call themselves the ex-presidents. And yeah, he has to go undercover as this surfer because the FBI believes that these bank robbers are surfers. There's a few gangs, there's a few suspects that they have, and they want Keanu Reeves to go and infiltrate them. And my God, it is just so much fun. Patrick Swayze kills it in this movie. He's just great. It's one of his best movies ever. The supporting cast in this movie is great. John C. McGinley, Gary Busey. When those two are allowed off their leashes and just allowed to go absolutely nuts and crazy, they are so entertaining, and this movie's no exception as well. It's great. You've also got a cameo in there from Anthony Kiedis as well, from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And yeah, it's just such a great fun time. Just an absolutely suspenseful blast of a movie. Really, really enjoy this one. So yeah, that is my number 5 pick, Point Break. So just missing out on the podium places for me, coming in at 4th place, is Boys in the Hood, starring Cuba Gooding Jr. and Ice Cube, and Lawrence Fishburne as well. Yeah, just what a great movie. I think that captures gang life so well. The movie's just wonderfully told over a really long period of time as well. Really enjoy it. It's a really, really uncomfortable movie. It's a really unsafe movie. You just feel on the edge of your seat all the time in this film. And there's characters in it that you really root for. You really want them to succeed and break away from the lifestyle, unfortunately. But it's not always the case with a lot of these characters in the film. One of Cuba Gooding Jr.'s best performances, I think, and as well by Lawrence Fishburne as well, who plays his dad in the film. And yeah, it's just an all-round wonderful movie, and it's heartbreaking at times as well. I just really, really dig this film. So yeah, that is my number 4 pick, Boys in the Hood. So coming in at number 3 for me, taking the bronze medal, is probably a lot of people's favourite film from this year, and that is Silence of the Lambs, starring Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins. This film is so interesting, both on screen and off screen. It's just an amazingly executed movie about an FBI agent, Clarice Starling, who is trying to hunt down this serial killer, Buffalo Bill. And in order to do so, she needs the help of another psychopath, Dr. Hannibal Lecter. And yeah, it's so well done. It's so well acted. It deserved the home runs at the Oscars that this movie got. Anthony Hopkins won Best Actor for this film, and I think he's only in the movie for about 18 minutes when it's all added up all together. It's crackers. The ending to it is great. The escape sequence is phenomenal. And yeah, the movie just blows you away. There's just so many little disgusting background moments in this movie as well. It's just great. It's so well done, so well acted. The movie looks great. The music in it is fantastic. And yeah, just this really unsettling, creepy movie, particularly that ending as well, when we're in the house with the lights off. Yeah, really, really awesome film. So just coming in at 3rd place for me, taking the bronze medal, is The Silence of the Lambs. So coming in at 2nd place, taking the silver medal for me, is Oliver Stone's JFK. I fell in love with this film the first time I watched it. One of my favourite movies with an ensemble cast. The cast is friggin' insane in this film. And to the movie's testament, none of the appearances in this movie by famous people feel like cameos. They feel like legit acting roles that these famous faces are contributing to this movie. Not for 1 second do you think, oh, look who that is, look who this. No. Everyone is firing at all pistons, giving 110%, not phoning it in. And it's a huge testament to this film. It just is a great depiction of what went on with the assassination of JFK. The movie doesn't straight up say things that there's more, who did it, who didn't do it. But the movie definitely gives you this implication that there's more to meets the eye than what went on. And it's just so well done. My favourite scene in the movie is with Donald Sutherland. He kills it in this movie. That sequence is just breathtaking. I absolutely love it. It's stacked with talent, this film. and it shows and it pays off for me. It's just a wonderful movie. So coming in at number 2 for me, taking the silver medal, is Oliver Stone's JFK. So that leaves us with one movie left, and I think for a lot of people, this was definitely going to be one to top a lot of people's list, a lot of people's favourite movie of all time, and it is James Cameron's Terminator 2 Judgment Day. One of the best sci-fi movies ever made, one of, if not the best action movie ever made. Yeah, what hasn't already been said about this film? For me, this is a fantastic sequel. It's brilliant. It's borderline perfect. Does everything a sequel should do. And I think the movie definitely plays to its strengths. I think definitely from the first movie, you had Arnold Schwarzenegger as the villain. And I think in the time between the first movie's release and the second movie's release, Schwarzenegger's career was really, really taking off. He had star power. He was a financial draw for movies. And this movie, instead of making him the villain, it makes him the hero. And that is such a smart choice. It's such a smart decision, because by the time this movie came out, Arnold Schwarzenegger was a really, really likable guy, a likable actor. He has likability in bucket loads, in my opinion. And making him the hero of this movie instead of the villain is just really, really going to win the audience over. They're just going to have so much of a better time rooting for him than they are, not rooting for him. And the movie plays to that strength. Robert Patrick is great as the villain in this film as well, the T-1000. The visual effects, the movie, very similar to Jurassic Park for me. It knew when to use CGI and when to use practical, even though it was, still the technology was very new at the time. It's just an all-round home run of a film. Sarah Connor as well, Linda Hamilton's performance is great, turning her from this meek waitress in the first movie to this absolute badass in the second one. Yeah, it's just such a great film, great sequel. I can't praise the movie enough, and I don't think you can either. It's just a wonderful, wonderful sequel. Even though I do still prefer the first movie, the second one is just an amazing follow-up. So, yeah, that is my number 1 pick from 1991, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. So, yeah, those are my top 15 favourite movies from the year 1991, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the list, hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'm going to leave it there and say thanks very much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.